Hey guys, welcome back. First off, this is a sponsored review. The nice folks at BlackboxMyCar were kind enough to send me the PowerCell 8 Dashcam battery pack for a test and review. And I can't tell you how excited I am to finally get my hands on one of these, because I've been following their development for the past 4 years, ever since I got into dash cams. So this PowerCell 8 was released back in September of 2021, so about a year ago. And at that time, it's already been reviewed by 6 professional dashcam review YouTube channels. And by far the #1 best review is from Retro Car Guy 530. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, that video is going to be a must watch. And then there's a second video by Vortex Radar where he talks about the differences between dedicated dashcam battery packs and USB power banks. So I'll put a link to those videos and all those reviews down below. And I've also put all of my testing on the DashCamTalk forum of this PowerCell 8, and I'll put a link to that down below too. So what can I say about this PowerCell 8 that came out a year ago and has already been reviewed 6 times? Well, in preparation for this review, I went back and I re-watched all of the dashcam battery pack videos on YouTube for the past 4 years, and I went down in the comment section and I started reading all the comments. And what I noticed is a reoccurring theme of the same questions being asked over and over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to answer all of those questions, and then I want to go over 2 things that we need to understand to compare these dashcam battery packs with USB power banks. And then I want to break down what's inside the 4 main components, and then finish it up with pros and cons. So like I was saying, going back to all of the questions in the comment section of all these videos about dashcam battery packs, they always sound something like this. Why do dedicated dashcam battery packs exist? Why are they so expensive at $400? And why spend $400 and just use a $10 USB power bank? And what is the difference between lithium iron phosphate versus lithium ion and lithium polymer? And why not make your own DIY lithium iron phosphate battery pack? And why not install a second regular car battery under the hood? And so what I've been able to come up with is 1 primary reason and a handful of secondary reasons. And the #1 primary reason is a safety issue. And the reason why these things are so expensive is because they're made from a specialized type of lithium battery called lithium iron phosphate. And I think we're all familiar with those YouTube videos where you've seen cell phones and power banks and vaping e-cigarettes and hoverboards and e-bikes explode and catch fire when they're charging or even just being idle. So if you haven't seen that, I want to refresh your recollection and play you a short clip of these lithium ion and lithium polymer batteries when they go wrong.
The different devices. First, here are some examples of typical smaller device lithium battery fires which have been featured on YouTube and in the... But if, for example, the phone was left in the sun on a car dashboard, it will continue to heat up until it catches a light. Mobile phones contain a small lithium battery, typically 60-watt cell battery. There is virtually no warning. They almost seem to spontaneously ignite. This can be particularly dangerous when kept in a pocket. Contain larger size cell batteries, typically 4 times 21/700s, which can charge a phone 3 or 4 times. That amount of stored energy can cause quite a significant fire if the battery powering a laptop is usually between 60 and 100 watt-hours and is capable of spraying debris across the office, so is likely to set other areas. There is more warning with this as smoke is emitted first, but it still erupts into a fire quickly. The lithium battery is in region of 500 to 750 watt-hours. Electric scooters are now banned on TfL network due to fire risk, and regular fires can have up to a kilowatt-hour lithium battery. Just like the e-scooter, the fire starts by emitting smoke first. Using a garden hose to spray the battery with water doesn't make any difference to the fire. It just keeps going.
Okay, so now that your memory has been refreshed about the dangers of lithium ion and lithium polymer batteries, this should let you know what the difference is with these lithium iron phosphate. And this is why they're so good in an application to be left in a hot car to run a dash cam in parking mode, because they're pretty much guaranteed to never explode and catch fire like lithium ion and lithium polymer. So the secondary reasons about these things is they give you extended parking mode run times on your dash cam, and they enable parking mode without hardwiring the dash cam, so it's a very plug and play user-friendly experience. The third reason is that the dash cam, it isolates the dash cam power from your vehicle's starter battery. More on that later. Basically, it saves you the wear and tear on your starter battery. And you never have to worry about parking mode draining your vehicle's starter battery and creating a no start condition. A lot of times, if you hook up the hardwire, and if you don't select the correct voltage, it could drain the battery, and when you come out, you're not going to be able to start your car. So having one of these eliminates that. And it also, I already said that, eliminates the wear and tear on vehicle starter battery and charge cycles. I looked this up, and in general, lithium iron phosphate has 5,000 charge cycles versus lithium ion and lithium polymers around 1,000 charge cycles. And for some reason, the PowerCell 8, they rate this conservatively at 2,000 cycles. So they last a lot longer, 2 to 5 times longer than lithium ion and lithium polymer. And the last thing is the charge time. This, when it's hardwired, you can charge it in about 1 hour. And when you charge these USB power banks, I've got one here, it's only about 75% of the capacity, and it takes 10 hours to recharge. So real quick, I want to talk about parking mode. So what is parking mode? What is it? Why does it exist? And what are the pros and cons? Well, when it comes to running your dash cam in parking mode, there's two things at play that really make it worth it. And the number one is power conservation, so that it can last longer, and memory card data conservation, so your memory card doesn't fill up constantly recording data. So I've got 3 examples here of users that might want parking mode recording. So the first example would be somebody that just goes to the grocery store once a week, and they just need 1 hour of parking mode. Well, you can usually get that done with a Hardwire kit, and you won't need one of these Dashcam battery packs, because in general, without one of these, parking mode will last anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. 3 hours for a dual channel, or 6 hours for a single channel. Now the second user would be a commuter, where they get to the office at 7 a.m. and leave the car till 5 p.m. and they're going to need 10 hours of protection. Well, that's not going to cut it with a Hardwire kit hooked up to the starter battery, so that's why you'd want to get one of these. And the last user would be an airport user, where they leave their car at the airport for 7 days, and they're going to want extended parking time. So then you'd want to start thinking about maybe a solar option, or getting a second one of these and daisy chaining it, or getting the that ThinkWare U1000 with the radar module. The third reason why parking mode is good is because it makes it easy to locate event files. Whenever there's a motion or impact, it will lock that file, and it's real easy to find when you're going through the files. And the fourth reason, you can set them up to only record events. So anytime there's motion or impact, it'll just record that instead of sitting there constantly recording all of the boring things. And it's able to accomplish this because it reduces the image quality, and it can reduce the resolution, the bit rate, the frame rate, and etc. And to give you an example of that, I've been testing this battery pack with the Viofo A129 Pro, and you can see I'm using a 64 gigabyte SD card, and when I put it in normal recording, I only get 1 hour and 49 minutes. And when I put it in low bitrate parking mode, it jumps to 17 hours. So that's by a factor of about 9 times as much recording. And you can see that it also drops the resolution from 4K down to 2K. And I did some runtime tests, and with the A129 Pro, with this PowerCell 8, I was getting 23 hours and 26 minutes. And that's a few hours, I think that's about 4 hours longer than what BlackboxMyCar did when they tested it back in September. And I think Viofo has a updated firmware to further optimize the parking mode. And I also tested it with an A229 Duo, and I got 21 hours, 25 minutes. And I've got an A119 Mini, and it went for 40 hours and 2 minutes, and that's because it's a single channel dash cam. Okay, so now I want to talk about the two things that we need to understand when we're looking at these dash cam battery packs, and that is we need to understand Watt's law, and that's in order to get so that we can compare these with power banks on an equal playground and do an apples to apples comparison. And what I'm talking about is when you see the rating on these battery packs, you can see right here the capacity rating is 7,500 milliamp, and that may not sound like a lot, because I'm sure a lot of you have bought a power bank that's rated at 20,000 milliamps. So what's the big idea? You know, these things are $20 and this is bigger. Well, not exactly. The reason why that's different is because these Dashcam battery packs, they're rated at 7,500 milliamp at 12 volts, and these USB power banks, they're rated at 3.7 volts. So we've got to do some simple arithmetic to figure out what the true capacity of what these things are. And in order to do that, we've got to convert it into watt hours. Now, I'm sorry to make you do math, but that's exactly what we have to do. And so basically, Watt's law, we have to know what Watt's law is. And Watt's law is basically amps times volts equals watts. So let me show you how to do this. So this right here is the PowerCell 8. It's rated at 7,500 milliamp, or just to make that easy, 7.5 amp hour. And we times that by 12.8 volts, and we get 96 watt hours. So that means this is 96 watt hours. And these power banks over here are rated at 20,000 milliamp. And to put that in simple terms, we can just say 20 amp hours. And they're rated at 3.7 volts. And so that means they only have 74 watt hours. So this power bank has 74 watt hours, and this has 96 watt hours. Now you're obviously looking, you know, this does not make sense. This weighs 3 pounds and this weighs about a half a pound. So this thing is ginormous compared to this power bank. Well, the reason why that is because lithium ion and lithium polymer batteries have a much higher energy density. So that means they can make them smaller, and they've got a higher energy concentration. These lithium iron phosphate, they have a lower energy density. So that means they need to make them bigger in order to get the capacity out of them. And that's kind of the secret of why they're so good for high temperatures, because the bigger they make them, the more heat resistant they are to heat. So when you're looking at the capacity, that's the formula that you've got to use to convert this. Okay, so now the second thing we've got to understand is we've got to understand the differences of battery chemistry composition, and I kind of just touched on that. Now, if you remember back in the day, this is what we used to use for power tools, and this is called a nickel cadmium or a NiCad battery. And these are great, but they're heavy as heck. You know, this thing weighs a lot. And then when the NiCads went away, we got batteries like this, and this is called nickel metal hydride, and it's kind of the same thing, but these are supposed to be better for the environment. And then after that, then we started getting these the lithium area, and this is from a newer power tool, and we can see that it has these lithium ion cells in here. These are called the 18650 cells, and these things are what's in a lot of the electronics that are made these days. And the reason why they went to these is because they have, you can see the size difference. You know, these are about the equal amount of power, but this thing is feather light, and this thing is heavy as a stone, because the lithium has a higher energy density, but they do have some drawbacks. So and lithium polymer. So lithium ion, and then now we have lithium polymer. And when you think of lithium polymer, these are usually in a foil pouch, and the reason why they have these is because they can squish them down and get them into small weird shapes to fit in certain appliances like cell phones and other things like that. And but again, these lithium ion and lithium polymer batteries, when they get overheated, they either expand. I've got one here. This is an old jump starter battery pack, and you can see that it's kind of fat right here in the middle, and that's because it's swelled up because it got overheated. Luckily it didn't blow up. And the next type of battery is, we've got to talk about the lead acid. So this is the battery in my car. This is a traditional lead acid flooded battery, and these are only $100, so why wouldn't you just get a second one of these and put it under the car? Well, when it comes to vehicle starter batteries, these batteries are specifically designed to start an engine. So what that means is they're designed to give a very high power in a very short amount of time, like starting an engine. So it's got to give all of its power very quickly, and then as soon as it does that, it's got to be immediately recharged by the alternator when the engine starts running. And that's why we have something called deep cycle batteries. It's kind of the same thing, lead acid, except these deep cycle batteries are meant for applications like a golf cart or in a boat, where the charge, where they've been charging all night for the past 8 hours, and then a golfer will jump in it and drive it around all day, and it's just slowly discharging throughout the day, and at the end of the day it goes on the charger and it charges for 16 hours. So in a dash cam application, when you're running a dash cam off a starter battery, it really is not ideal, because it's using the battery not how it's intended to. Instead of having a quick power burst to start the engine and then immediately recharging it, the dash cam is slowly discharging this battery over time, and over time it's not good for it at all. It puts a lot of wear and tear on it, and you'll be wearing out your car batteries a lot sooner than what they should be wearing out at. Okay, so now I want to talk about, I want to break this thing down. So basically, the PowerCell 8 is basically 4 things in one. There's 4 components. There's the battery, there's the BMS, or the battery monitoring system, there's the chassis case, and then there's a Bluetooth monitoring app. So what is BMS and what does it do? So I've pieced this definition together that I like. A battery management system is an electronic system that manages a rechargeable battery, cell, or battery pack through integrated firmware and hardware by monitoring its state, calculating secondary data, reporting that data in real time, and protecting the battery, controlling its environment, or balancing it. And it does that by monitoring the voltage, the amperage, the state of charge, cell balance, and temperature. And then it's got the Bluetooth module in there to report all that data and info. And then it offers protection from over and under voltage and over amperage. And this one, it also does have low temperature charge protection based on a test I did. So I wanted to open this thing up and see what's inside of it. And this is a photo, this is a side view photo, and it's filled with these 18650, these same type of cells that are in here, except they're not lithium ion, they're lithium iron phosphate. It says LFP. And these are rated at 3.2 volts and 1500 milliamp. And it looks like this. This is with the cover off. This is on the bottom side. So it's got 20 of these cells right in there just like that. And so I went on Amazon and I wanted to see how much these things were. And I found the exact same specification, 3.2 volt, 1500 milliamp. And they're going for $26 for a 4-pack. So you would need 5 of those. So that means I could buy 20 of these batteries for $130. So that is the battery component. Now the next component is the battery management system, and this is a photograph of the other side of that, and this is the software board that's got all of these different components on here that are going to be responsible for keeping the battery safe from over, under charge, and low charge protection, and the Bluetooth module and all that business. So it's basically a computer. So I went on Amazon and I found one. This is a battery management system for a lithium iron phosphate battery, and these go for $110. So right now we're already at, $250, and now we still have to get a case. And then we've got to get a spot welder or a tack welder to weld all these batteries together and assemble it. So now we're probably looking at a few hours of labor and additional costs. So now if I wanted to do this, I'm probably already over $400. And now this PowerCell 8 is looking pretty attractive because right now on Black Friday sale they've got 15% off, and these things are only $335. So I doubt I could build one for cheaper than this. All right, now let's finish this up with pros and cons and final thoughts. So my pros for the PowerCell 8 is it is the ultimate in battery safety technology. And again, when used in a car, these things are pretty much guaranteed to never explode in a hot parked car in a parking mode situation. And it enables parking mode capability without hardwiring the dash cam into your fuse box. Plug and play convenience, so if you don't want to hardwire anything, it comes with these adapters. You can just, it's truly a plug and play system. And on the other hand, if you're a customizer, it's fully customizable. You can run your hardwire cable just however you want. And again, Retro Car Guy 530's got a really good recommendation how to wire this up. And again, the charge cycles, you're going to get 2,000 charge cycles instead of 1,000 charge cycles. And this has a low temp charging protection. And if you want to know how that works, I've got a test on the DashCamTalk forum where I posted how I tested that. And my last pro is the Cellink Neo Plus app. It comes with a smartphone app, and you can track the battery health and everything you want to do, and it's fully customizable. You can change the amperage rate on how it charges. Okay, now let's get to the cons. It wouldn't be a review unless I talk about something bad about this product. So my number one con with this product is the wiring. This comes with 16 gauge wiring for the Hardwire kit and 16 gauge wire for the plug-and-play cigarette lighter. And based on my testing, I think that's just a little bit too thin, and I would like to see this raised to 12 gauge. And I don't think if it's much of a deal breaker, because this is easily replaceable to a thicker gauge. I'd like to run it with 12 gauge wire. And my final thoughts, this thing is expensive, but it's worth every penny, considering it's not going to burn your car down on a hot day. And this thing is made with the highest quality components and design construction. These things are made in Korea by the premier Dashcam battery pack manufacturer. These things really are high quality. I don't think there's anything better on the market right now. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.